Have you ever thought that the way a great story is built might be the same way the technology in your pocket is built? Well, today, we're going to connect two worlds that seem miles apart: Nobel Prize-winning literature and, believe it or not, object-oriented programming. And we're going to do it in a way you've probably never seen before.
I sell my dreams. I mean, what a line, right? It's so mysterious, it's poetic, and it's actually the key to this whole thing.
Now, this isn't just some random phrase I pulled out of a hat. It's the entire job description of a character created by one of the greatest storytellers of our time.
And, weirdly enough, that very strange profession, it just so happens to be the perfect metaphor for understanding the code that pretty much runs our entire world.
So, how on earth can a dream seller from a short story explain something as complex as code? Okay, let's get into it. So our story kicks off with pure chaos. Picture this: we're in Havana. A monster wave comes crashing over the seawall, literally picks up a car and just slams it into the side of a hotel. It's this surreal, totally impossible image. And when the authorities manage to pull the car out of the wall, they find the body of a woman inside. Her face is gone, but on her finger, she's wearing this very specific gold ring shaped like a serpent with emeralds for eyes. And that one little detail, it triggers a memory in our narrator, sending him back 34 years in time.
The story is called I Sell My Dreams by the one and only Gabriel Garcia Marquez. He was an absolute master of a style called magical realism, where just fantastical, bizarre events are treated as if they're completely normal. And his unique way of building a world, that's going to be our guide today.
So the narrator remembers meeting a woman years ago in Vienna who wore that exact same serpent ring. He and his friends never knew her real name, so they just called her Frau Frida. And when he asked her what she did for a living, she gave him that incredible answer: I sell my dreams. And she meant it, literally. That was her job. She was hired by a super wealthy family to dream for them, and every single morning at breakfast, she would interpret her dreams to predict and basically run their entire day. Okay, and this is where our two worlds collide. Because that strict system the family lives by, it has a direct parallel in the world of programming. It's all built on this idea of a class, which is just a blueprint, right? It defines a set of rules and behaviors. And from that blueprint, you create specific objects, which are like the living, breathing things that actually follow those rules. And the comparison here is it's shockingly perfect. The family's whole routine, that daily breakfast ritual where the dreams are interpreted, that's our class. It's the blueprint for how their world works. And the actual prophecy Frau Frida delivers on, say, a Tuesday morning, that's our object, a unique, specific instance created from that class. Now, this kind of system, whether you find it in a magical story or in a piece of software, it doesn't just work by accident. It's built on 4 fundamental principles. You could call them 4 pillars that give it all its structure and power. So let's break them down. So pillar number 1 is encapsulation. The best way to think about it is like a protective capsule. It bundles all the important data and the functions that use that data together into one self-contained unit, and it protects it from everything on the outside. Frau Frida is the perfect walking, talking example of this. The family gives her food and a place to stay. Those are the inputs. And she gives them predictions for their day. Those are the outputs. They can interact with her, but they have absolutely no idea what goes on inside her head, how she dreams, how she comes up with her interpretations. It's a total black box. Her methods are private. Pillar number 2 is inheritance. This is basically the idea that you can create a new class that's based on an existing one. It just inherits all its traits and functions, kind of like passing down features in a family. And wouldn't you know it, in the story, the head of the household dies. But in his will, he leaves Frau Frida a chunk of his estates. But here's the kicker. It's on the condition that she keeps dreaming for the next generation. The system, the whole dream ritual class, is formally passed down. It's inherited by the rest of the family.
All right, next up, abstraction. This one is all about hiding the messy, complicated reality of how something works and just showing the simple, necessary parts. You know, you don't need to understand how an internal combustion engine works to drive a car. You just need the steering wheel, the gas, and the brake.
And Frau Frida illustrates this perfectly. At one point, she has this terrifyingly complex dream that one of the young boys in the family is going to drown in a flood. But does she tell them that? No. She abstracts it away. She hides all those messy details and just gives them a simple, actionable command. He shouldn't eat sweets. She gives them the simple interface, not the chaotic code running in the background.
And our final pillar is polymorphism. It's a fancy word that literally just means many forms. It's this really cool ability for one single command, one function, to behave differently depending on the object you're using it on.
And back in the story, every morning Frida performs one single action: predict the future. But that one method, that one function, produces a totally different result for each person at the table. For the financer, it's about money. For the mother, it's probably about the household. See? One method, many forms. That is polymorphism in a nutshell.
So when you pull it all together, you start to see something pretty amazing. The structure that makes a really good story, a world with consistent rules, isn't so different from the structure that makes really good code.
It all just clicks into place, right? The class, well, that's the set of rules for the world. In this case, the breakfast ritual. The objects are the characters, the people who have to operate within those rules. And those 4 pillars we just went through, those are the deep principles that make the whole system, whether it's magic or software, actually work.
And that right there is why this all matters. Because deep down, storytelling and programming are trying to solve the same problem. How do you manage complexity? They're both just systems for taking the chaos of the world, or the chaos of data, and organizing it in a way that creates predictable, reliable, and yet still flexible results?
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Just look around you. Think about your job, your family traditions, even the rules of a game you love to play. Can you start to see the hidden logic? Can you spot the blueprints, the objects, the pillars that are holding it all together? Because once you start looking for them, I promise you'll start to see them absolutely everywhere.